Anyway, time for the movie review.
In a world of movie references flying over his head, one man will finally watch them. This is the Matt and Blonde Show movie review.
This week's movie is the 1992 Michael Mann, Daniel Day-Lewis drama The Last of the Mohicans, in which a white guy raised by Indians helps other white guys fight other Indians to decide which white guy Indian team will rule the colonial American frontier. And he steals some redcoats bitch along the way. From movie picker Michael, America before it became America, caught in a war between the British and the French. Plus, throw in a romantic story for the ladies to enjoy. As always, your review and your rating.
Okay. All right. First, I should say this movie. Oops. Sorry, guys. Sorry, Skag. Sorry.
Don't touch that microphone.
I know. This movie reminds me of a horrible time in my life. 2 worst days of my life. The first day was when I hit rock bottom with my alcoholism. Just rock bottom. Terrible. The second day was when I found out that Daniel Day-Lewis is Jewish.
Okay. All right. I figured you were going somewhere with this. Okay.
I cooked that up last night. I was really proud of myself.
All right.
I love this movie, though. I've always loved this movie. It is a classic American film. It's thrilling. It's beautifully shot and acted. And Daniel Day-Lewis with his hair and his chest. And I will find you. Stay alive. It's just the romance. And it's pretty historically accurate, except for the scene with the British guy getting burned at the stake. That did not happen. In exchange for Cora's life, wouldn't have happened. It would have been like a tribal council, not a single tribal leader. I loved Hawkeye, this man who's caught between 2 vastly different worlds, but instead of shitting on both of them, he takes the best qualities from both of them and really embodies that. And he's just so masculine and has the right amount of savagery. It's like no wonder Cora just bones him immediately, just right away. Of course, there's some Hollywood stuff, you can't avoid that, but it really improves the entertainment value. And I think that few movies have really captured this Indian savagery, but also the warring amongst Indian tribes. And then they cooperated with Europeans and other Indian tribes when it benefited them. So I think it just captured that perfectly. I love the action sequences and the nature shots and just one of the most romantic, captivating love stories maybe ever written. I've always loved this movie. 4 out of 5, maybe 5 out of 5.
Wow. Do you think I enjoyed or did not enjoy?
There was a lot of love story stuff. So, and then you get really hung up on the 90s like action issues. This was early 90s. This was the same year as Tremors.
You do know me well.
I'd imagine you have some problems with that.
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of this one. But actually, we do share some similar points of both appreciation and perhaps criticism. I will say that the battle scenes are pretty strong. And the artillery fighting at the fort is cool. The strongest battle scenes happen with these ambushes in the woods. And I thought that the scene where Hawkeye is chained up, right, and then they get ambushed by both sides by the Huron, that was just a really cool scene shot from afar. And to make that combat feel pretty authentic with everybody having to fight simultaneously is a feat. That was well acted, that was well performed, that was well filmed.
The moccasins and the bows and arrows and the kayaks and everything were made with the same ancient techniques that they made back. There was a real attention to detail in this
That's
film.
pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I can appreciate that. And this point you made about sort of the honest presentation of kind of the tribal and Indian and European politics at the time, I think is very important. It's not that I want Indians to be bad guys and Europeans to be good guys. I just appreciated that you can have an Indian villain and him leading a whole band of Indian villains. And on the other side, there are also Indian heroes, Indian good guys. And there's nobody there's I just don't know that's kind of like a bygone thing in Hollywood. I don't know that you could show that sort of complexity with the precious people of color. They would have to be universally abused, universal heroes. You couldn't actually have kind of this Magua Indian villain in the way that they did that. And
he was such a bastard. And
it's not even, I didn't really vet this for historical accuracy in the way that you're talking about, but I just appreciate the broad themes of, there were a lot of complex alliances that were mostly self-interested. Mm-hmm. And we should be honest about that. Now, you're right that I thought the romance was just numbingly boring.
What?
To me, it was like a romance between Microsoft Sam and Alexa. They might as well have been robots. And what I found to be most bizarre, and maybe you're right, maybe it's just maybe I don't have the female psychology to understand how Daniel Day-Lewis just inspires immediate attraction, because I thought that the romance between Cora and Hawkeye, they had like one dialogue, and then all of a sudden they're just totally in love. It just felt forced. It felt inauthentic. The dialogue, even I thought
but delivery, he saved her life.
The cheesy, the line, stay alive, and all, it was just came off cheesy. To me, it was so cheesy.
Oh my gosh, no! He had saved her life multiple times. They were bonded.
I couldn't get. To me, it was so forced and ridiculous.
And she gets the best of both worlds. She gets a white guy with like the rationality of an Englishman or whatever, and then like that touch of savagery and criminality that every woman really wants in a man. It's perfect.
How about this though? I will admit that the Cora Hawkeye romance is Shakespearean compared to the alleged romance between Alice and Uncas. I didn't even realize that they were in a romance until he dies and she commits suicide.
He prevented her from committing suicide the first time when they were in the cave. Are you paying attention?
That romance just appeared out of nowhere. That just
super hot Indian guy. This based Indian thing, man.
But not well. How would you rank him relative to the guy in 1883?
That guy was super hot too. See, women's racial allegiance goes out the window when the guy is super hot. I don't know what to tell you.
A lot of the action. You're right. You know me well. I found a lot of the action. Well, I shouldn't say a lot, because I appreciated some of those kind of wide warfare scenes, but some of this kind of one-on-one combat was totally cheesy and totally ridiculous. I don't know what this falling off the cliff multiple people many times bit was, but that for Uncas, he's supposed to have like this dignified death. And I agree that maybe he had that, but then he gets killed by Magua, and it's like this obvious dummy just sliding limply down.
It was the
cliff.
90s. Don't pay such close attention. Come on.
It came off as fake and funny.
Did you give this movie a 1? I will come to Bozeman and slit your throat.
It didn't come off as like a man who was bleeding out and dying, falling off. It came off as corny. And then they had one of Magua's warriors effectively just jumping off the cliff and then you had Alice with her cliff diving bit.
What? Didn't you think that was romantic? She was going to get gang raped by a bunch of Indians, and she was a proper English lady. She wasn't going to have it.
Even if I were to grant the sincere themes of the move, the way it was presented ended up being so silly. It's this flailing in the air, slow motion nonsense. And you know what else drove me nuts about the action presentation?
Oh, God. God, help me.
This waterfall bit. Not going under the waterfall or whatever they did, but they show these massive waterfalls like dozens of feet high, and then they cheap out and they don't actually show the canoe going over it. They take this cheap angle, and it's like the canoe just going down a ramp. And you're thinking,
it was the 90s. They didn't have drones and shit back then.
But then why do it? It's like you build up this giant waterfall drop, and then you just bitch out and don't even show it.
Because it was 30 years ago. This was like cutting edge shit back then.
Just skip that. It had no plot relevance. There was no reason.
They didn't know that technology and CGI would advance at such a rapid rate, and all the movies would end up being defunct. You got a willful suspension of disbelief. That's what you lack. It had
no plot relevance. It was just, look at this giant waterfall. They're going to go over it. Just kidding. We're not going to go over it. No, we're going to stop at this one and then go under it and have our romance time.
But you had the suspense of thinking they were going to go over the waterfall. It was suspense building.
That's the point, is they build it up and then they don't deliver. So why build it up if you can't deliver? They just cheaped out.
It was a diversion tactic. They were moving the plot around. It's legitimate.
Okay.
This is the worst one yet. The worst one yet.
The closing fights. I don't understand. Maybe you can explain this to me, because I'm not even asking rhetorically. It's like, do I not get the point? This battle between Magua and Uncas, why was it spectated by dozens of Magua's men? He had armed warriors who were fighting Uncas originally, but then Uncas fights his way to Magua, and they all say, all right, everybody stand down and watch the show. Is this some kind of like Indian honor thing that they're doing?
Yeah.
If so, though, why didn't the first Indians allow the honor of the fight? Why did they fight and die?
Because they were ambushed from the front.
But not all. Like the first guy got hit with the rifle butt, and then other people just start opening fire on Uncas and missing.
There was some Hollywood stuff, okay? Like
but then why did they stop fighting? And then what?
Yeah, I know. Okay, I'm not saying it's a perfect film. Okay.
And then what would they? If Uncas had killed Magua, then would the warriors have killed Uncas? Like, okay, we gave you your time to kill our leader, and now we'll stop you.
Yeah.
And then after Magua kills Uncas, we get the fight scene with Uncas's dad, the last of the Mohicans. Hey, did you catch his name?
No.
It's Chingachgook. It's Chingachgook, and I'm calling him Chinky Gook. I think his name is Chinky Gook. And this fight, Chinky Gook's revenge on Magua, is this ridiculous snail's pace old man beatdown of a guy who's supposed to be such an accomplished warrior. I get it, maybe he's tired from the fight with Uncas or something, but Magua is just standing there while Chinky Gook does like a full slow motion 360 with his baseball bat weapon like he's some kind of figure skater, and he just lets it happen. Maybe it's Indian destiny that he's supposed to lose to Chinky Gook or something, but then after the revenge is realized and Magua is dead, they don't even give Magua the benefit that everybody else got of the flailing death off the cliff to complete his destiny. He just has to rot.
He slid.
No, he didn't. He sits on the cliffside.
Oh, okay.
It was Uncas who slid.
Man, you just suck all the entertainment value out of movies by overanalyzing them. This is making me want to smash your face. I
didn't give it a 1, but I did give it a 2. Because I was not into it.
It's definitely a no for me, dog.
I'll probably be in the minority on this. So let's see what.
Oh my god.
The early vote is kind of split. It's like the plurality is 3 wikis, but then people are out of 4 or 5 after that. There's not a lot of people with the lower wiki ratings.
Okay, I will say. This movie was made by, what is it, Michael Mann?
Mm-hmm.
And that guy made Heat, and that movie was fucking garbage.
Heat had its moments. I liked Heat better than this one, to be honest.
How?
I did. I think it's a better movie.
Oh my God, you're the worst.
Next week, Clint Eastwood Western, The Outlaw Josie Wales is
I've never seen that.
Next week. I've never seen that one either.
I'm having like a real Groundhog Day moment where like, this is making me hate who you are. I don't know why people get so emotionally attached to movies, but I see it. I see it now.
And yet you knew instinctively that I probably didn't like it.
The love thing, I can't imagine that you would have come into any movie and been like, I was really taken with the love story.
It's not impossible to achieve, but I probably have higher standards than most, and I probably am quicker to bail on that and think it's stupid and cheesy than most. That's probably true.
This is so sad. This is so depressing.
This will be the last week to vote. After that, the movie after Outlaw Josie Wales, it'll be the last chance to vote on the nominees for May. Remaining nominees are The Hunt, Midsummer, whatever, however you pronounce it, Richard Jewell, The Enforcer, Breaking Away, or of course you can reject the list and vote for a randomly selected top-rated movie instead. And speaking of having an emotional reaction to someone hating on one of your pet movies, I will have that opportunity later in the month because we're about a year into the bit now. We've been doing this, and I have never put my personal favorite movies up for a vote. So, because
what pile of garbage is it going to be? Where can I see these movies?
Because May has 5 Sundays in 2 weeks.
Okay.
For the 5th Sunday of May, I will put up my personal favorite movies for a vote, and we will watch one of them. It will be 1 week and 1 week only. I have not decided on the list because I have to limit it to 8. Those are the rules. I do have a possible list on my phone, but I need to eliminate a couple to get down to 8. And you have my word, I'm not going to pick purposefully terrible cringe movies. I'm going to pick movies I think are legitimately good and influential on my life.
You're going to
So-
pick Dumb and Dumber. Dumb and Dumber is going to be
Oh,
on
that's
there.
it. That's 100% in. But that doesn't mean that people are going to vote for it. There will be movies that I think were funny and important to me in that way, but there will also be movies of more serious themes. But maybe you should vote for Dumb and Dumber, because if you want to get the hate out, you will have the opportunity to do that.
That movie's fine, whatever.
Ugh, well, you got to make the case for hate.
But I don't have the hate for Dumb and Dumber. It's just like The Big Lebowski, where I'm like, why do people love this movie so much?
I got to see Big Lebowski too. I never have. But as a reminder, if you'd like to read my movie reviews, comment how wrong I am, submit your own rating, vote for the next movie, and sign up for the chance to be the movie nominator for the month. The one and only place to do it is in my weekly movie review column linked in the description and on the homepage of the website. That is Matt Christensen.